Welcome on into the NAIF Ball Live Show, powered by Adcraft Custom Apparel and Merch, the best in the business since 1974. It's a good day. We've got Matt back from a little bit of a hiatus. Welcome back, Matt. And, well, I'm glad to have you back, but I'm going to say that Alabama is not happy to have Washington's old head coach.
It's not my problem anymore. Washington beat Michigan, dude. That's an SEC thing. No, so
SEC.
SEC.
Hey, we had our own really good week of NAI football. Uh, Man, full of anything you could want. And we'll start with our top 5 matchup that, Matt, I honestly thought after 2 quarters of play that Keiser was going to absolutely run away with this. It would not be a game. Keiser comes out, just starts stacking touchdowns on St. Thomas. Credit to St. Thomas. They come back on it, but it's not enough. Even the big man touchdown of Nick Angler can't get it done. Keiser comes back right after that big man pick six and throws a 70-yard touchdown to Rafina Van Gates, one of his 2 on the day.
Yeah, much like the SEC, like we were just talking about, this felt like the Georgia-Bama game from like literally a couple of weeks ago, where Alabama's just absolutely rolling. Georgia makes it close at the end. Same thing happened with St. Thomas, and I got to give them a lot of credit. I think that they kind of earned their 4th place ranking by being able to crawl back into this game. It's very weird with these top 4 matchups to like come out of it and feel more confident about a team that lost.
Right.
But it's how it goes when both of these teams are playing at such a high level right now. But Keiser, man, still the best team in the country, far and away.
And this was with a team where Jaden Meisinger got hurt during the game. It was mostly the Andrew Burnett show. Now, I will say, and I will get back on my soapbox, it kills you when you're getting 3, not 7.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that, yes, you went 5 of 5 in the red zone, the fact that 2 of those were field goals, you turn either one of those field goals into a touchdown, and you've got a tied ball game at home where you're comfortable going into overtime. It's these minor little things or these small little things that end up deciding championships, honestly.
Mm-hmm. And this felt like one of those games with championship, how do I say it? Like a championship preview or something that we're going to see possibly later down the road in the playoff. Getting a glimpse into what that's going to look like. And St. Thomas has stuff to clean up. I still think they're as good as pretty much anybody, though. And they proved it by clawing back into this one.
Yeah, this wasn't like we saw a couple weeks ago with Grandview and Benedictine, where Grandview was able to just keep the pedal on against Benedictine. St. Thomas had fight in them and was able to come back. And I don't think it was a Keiser lapse so much. It was a St. Thomas found the right notes to play. We talked about that Grandview Benedictine game, and it has a lot of similarities with our next game, which is Indiana Wesleyan St. Xavier. And that Indiana Wesleyan defense, boy, that was out for blood. 7 sacks on the day. That's when you're that far behind the chains, 7 sacks consistently like that, no wonder you're 4 of 14 on 3rd and 4th down conversions.
Yeah. And I think this Indiana Wesleyan team has been listening to me because I have kind of been not discrediting them, but I certainly haven't been super confident in my predictions with them. But they've moved really far up my list after this one. A very solid St. Xavier team that they beat, and Stuart Ross, who has traditionally been a very efficient quarterback, was super limited by this Indiana Wesleyan defense. Like you mentioned, absolutely shut down, only going 13 for 18 for 71 yards and a pick. I mean, my goodness.
And then I just realized I have a typo, a large typo on the next slide. So y'all forgive me. The big matchup that we didn't know was a big matchup the biggest upset, the preview for Alabama Vanderbilt.
Yes. Speaking of Bama.
Yeah, I felt really strange talking about this next game and then watching Bama go down. That's going to be Concordia, yet not St. Thomas. That should say Northwestern. That's my bad. No, close but no cigar. But my word, Concordia had an answer every time for what Northwestern wanted to do. Northwestern couldn't find a quarterback they liked. I mean, they had two guys throw 20 passes each. And neither one of them had good success.
Yeah, and Concordia, who was always known for stout defense, I mean, this absolutely shined. This is a Northwestern team that usually gets whatever they want offensively, as we've seen in previous years with Jalen Grahamstead running this team. But obviously, some new faces at quarterback, maybe causing them some trouble. I've always been high on Concordia. They're well coached, and I always feel like they can nip at that top three of the GPAC in a good year for them. But they finally get one over. They get it done. So good for them. Huge win for the Bulldogs.
Now, I do have something I want to show the fans. I don't know if they've seen this yet. Two of their touchdowns, Concordia pulled out the old standard goal line formation, the 9 offensive lineman formation.
Real football,
it's
as
amazing.
God intended.
This is fantastic. There is a guy behind the quarterback. Throw it over a couple. You can actually see it there. Almost reminds me of like how Percy Harvin used to hide behind Tim Tebow all those years ago. Because he was so dang small.
Yeah.
But yeah, just watch this action. I'll rewind it here, but just you got guards flying around. I mean, H-backs, guards. I mean, at that point, what's the difference between an H-back and a pulling guard?
It's the same thing. One's just in the backfield.
Yep. Got 2 touchdowns out of that. So, look, I don't even know that a regular defensive goal line formation, because you've got linebackers in on that, is going to be a good counter for that.
Mm-hmm. Concordia might have just unlocked something.
Talk about the brotherly shove. Now we're going to have to find something for the Bulldogs. And then our nightcap. Well, our couple of nightcaps. First off in the Frontier, Montana Tech just...
they're doing it again.
They're doing it again. Now, Now, I will say, Tech really has an opportunity. Now, you know who all of this benefits in the Frontier right now? Is Carroll. Carroll is sitting above the fray right now. They've got that one loss to Tech, but that is a non-conference loss. They played them again November 16th. Yeah, they played them non-conference. They played Tech non-conference first game. Carroll does have to go back through College of Idaho, Southern Oregon, Montana Western, and Montana Tech. But if you can get yourself a little out ahead of the field here, you might find yourself in a good position at the end of the year.
I don't know how to call it. It's the Frontier. Like, Montana Northern's going to beat one of these teams next week.
Yeah. So I looked and looked and looked. I poured over this box score, Matt. There's really only one thing that I could find that could explain any of this, and that's average drive position. Montana Tech started 21 yards further down the field on their 10 drives than Southern Oregon did.
Got to flip the field.
Yeah, I mean, really and truly, that's the hidden yards doesn't mean all of the stats are equal, and this was a close game. honestly, guys with the ball at the end of the game won it.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, Frontier being the Frontier. We'll talk about it more later, but this has got to stop if they want to make a deep run. This has got to quit.
Gunnar Yates, though, man, I'll say, even though they lost, this dude's going to be in the Player of the Year conversation at the end of the season.
As he should
Absolutely.
be. He's killing
He has been phenomenal for this team.
I mean, is he the who's that? What's that Boise State running back's name?
Ashton Jeanty.
Is he the Ashton Jeanty of the NAI right now?
Oh,
what?
Absolutely.
My guy's killing it. And then in a game that I was really interested in because I might be a sicko at heart.
Aren't we all?
That's true. Campbellsville, Cumberland. Some good old fashioned. Now,
heck yeah.
This one was tied 14-all for a while. Campbellsville finally gets it done, and honestly, the big difference is what you do in the red zone. Both of them took 3 trips. Campbellsville converted all 3 into touchdowns. Cumberland converted 1 of them into touchdowns and had 2 interceptions and a fumble lost compared to just a fumble lost for Campbellsville. And between turnovers and not getting it done in the red zone, I mean, that's honestly, it's the difference between a win and a loss.
Absolutely. And Jagger Gillis is playing phenomenal. He's playing absolutely out of his mind for this Campbellsville team. They're probably going to be in the top 25 this week. Has the poll dropped yet? Do we know?
The NAI poll should have.
Should have. Because they're on a run, man.
Let's take a look. Players of the week. Yeah, October 7th. Let's take a look at what the NAI. No, they are receiving votes. That seems.
Really?
That seems.
Gosh.
And they've got friends at. Okay, hang on. We interrupt this our normal. What in the tarnation? What are we doing here? Okay. Friends at 23?
I don't know about that one, Chief.
Tex West at 14? And Marion at 10. Okay. Roger's going to have my hind end for this. But there is no way on God's green earth Marion is the 10th best team in the country. Like, at all.
Yeah.
This is... I haven't looked at the NAI national poll in a hot minute. Been more concerned about ours. And honestly, this is also travesty here, and I feel like that's probably down to the rating where Northwestern is still ranked above Morningside.
Mm-hmm.
Let's look at quality of loss. Northwestern lost by 12 points to an absolutely unranked Concordia, Nebraska team. Morningside lost to a really good, now 11th ranked Benedictine team. I don't understand.
Dort 5, they're kind of cooking there.
They really are.
Wait a second. Hold on. Hold on.
I mean, that is, but you've got. And yeah. I will say they held St. Thomas at the same spot despite the loss. I feel like that's fair.
That's totally fair, yeah.
You've got Montana Tech at 12 after they beat the 13th ranked team, but you still got Montana Western up there, which didn't Tech just beat Western?
Southern Oregon beat Western.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yep.
I don't get it.
I don't know what to do with the Frontier either. I understand that. I get that.
Yeah, me too. I cannot get over Friends at 23.
Yeah. And Indiana Wesleyan still at 3, way up here.
Well, it's better than 4, where they were
It
last
is.
week.
Bethel also really up there is interesting.
Right now, you've got like 3 clearly head and shoulders teams. And I really think you've got Bethel, Dort, Benedict and Montana Tech, Tech's West.
Mm-hmm.
That 5 behind there that are really close.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know though, man. That seems really odd. The way that they're formatted.
Also, I'm not missing the fact that they have Indiana Wesleyan as 5-1. They just said not NAI, did not count.
Oh.
Don't care.
Yeah, that FCS loss. Yeah, you're right.
Said, who cares?
Wait a minute. What's Keiser's record? Actual record.
Keiser thinks undefeated.
Yeah. But they're counting Keiser's D2 wins.
Yeah.
What the crap?
Oh, no.
Oh, what's good for the goose is not good for the gander.
I see what they're cooking up.
Oy, oy, oy.
Oh, no.
This is... we'll get off our soapbox here. Matt, do me a favor while I go change my batteries, apparently. Go talk about our friend Connor.
Oh, yeah, Connor Darnell Designs. You guys will see on all of our social media and our show. We have these amazing, lovely graphics. He does name tags for us as well. I have one on my backpack that's back there. You guys can't see my webcam, but I have it on my work backpack. Absolutely wonderful quality. And he knows what it's like to be dealing with sports teams, football teams, athletic programs. He works in an athletic department. Like, he gets it. So if you or your team or you know somebody with a team that needs a little boost in their profile and design quality, check out Connor Darnell Designs. Shout out Connor for that one, for real.
Yeah, does a great job as I continue to fix my camera now.
I was wondering if you
because I mean, you can't put it on the same way you took it off. That would be silly.
That'd be too easy.
Yeah,
for sure.
This is why people have producers, right?
Exactly.
It's to make sure that crap like this works. But you know what? We are back in action.
Hey, we were the ones smart enough to have 2 co-hosts on quite literal opposite corners of
that. The fact that works as often as it does is a miracle from God. Speaking of Connor and what he's able to do, we'll go to the top 25 media poll, and we've got some rejiggering ourselves to do here. Here we are.
Oh.
What in the world? How did we? This is no bueno. I'm gonna figure out what the crap's going on with my camera, but Dort at 3.
Mm-hmm.
That's up 3. I feel like they are the real winner here of the Northwestern loss.
Absolutely, yeah, because they're playing the best out of any of the GPAC teams.
We've got Indiana Wesleyan at 4. They move up 1. St. Thomas goes down 4. Seems a little harsh, but okay.
It's harsh, yeah.
Also, to note, even though we have the same number of voters, we did get Joey back this week. Glad to have Joey McWilliams back voting with us again. Glad to see him back in action. But we did the Champion Sportsnet family is 6, so they didn't do the poll this week, which is fine. 6 is still 6. It's fine. I will note Montana Tech is up 6. I think that's a good spot for them, up to number 10. And I will note for those KCAC fans that we have friends at 11.
Shout out Friends, man. I put them at 9 in mine. I'm a real believer. I'm a real friend of Friends. You feel?
I see what you did there.
Mm-hmm.
Marion at number 15. I think that's appropriate. They're tied with Northwestern.
Yeah, Northwestern tanked. Holy cow.
I feel like in my poll, I felt bad because I didn't want to rank Concordia of Nebraska, which I saw you did. You threw them in.
I did. Hey, dude, shout out Concordia, man. I gotta back my GPAC fellas.
I didn't feel like I could put them at number 25, so I just dropped the crap out of Northwestern, which is the only fair way to do it. If I can't rank the team that beat you, then I've got to tank you.
Yeah.
Some other stuff here. We've got Campbellsville on the poll at 24. That's new. Southeastern is right there at 26. They're only 2 points away from Georgetown. Southwestern rises up 3 from that bottom spot in the polls, just trying to see what else. I feel like we've got the order mostly correct of Benedictine, Morningside, Tex West, St. Thomas, Bethel.
Yeah.
I feel like
that feels right.
that really does feel right. And especially when you go Tech, Friends, Southern Oregon, MNU. I feel like that 5 through 13 feels right. And honestly, that's the biggest portion right there because especially figuring out who's going to be your last 4 to get buys, who's going to be your first 4 playing actually in the playoffs. So
that'd be real interesting if Dordt loses one of their games to Morningside or Northwestern.
Don't even speak that evil.
Then we're gonna have some real
Then you know what you're gonna see? You're gonna see Morningside back up at number 3.
You betcha.
Because that non-conference loss to Benedictine will look amazing. To heck with Benedictine. Benedictine would have to beat MNU, which isn't beyond the realm of possibility. But yeah, I feel like I honestly, I really feel like we got it right. And I know our friends from over to the west are going to be like, oh, you don't have Ottawa of Arizona in there. Well, they struggled with Wayland Baptist for a while. So yeah, I can't quite get my head around that one. I feel like we got it right.
Yeah, I think so. Henchman brings up that he got 4 Frontier teams in his top 5. Just being honest.
That sounds like being a homer, Henchman.
Maybe, but maybe they are all just that good, and they're just doing the Frontier thing.
So you telling me that an 0-10 Frontier only team would get in the playoffs just like they should in the SEC?
Absolutely. Get Montana State Northern in the playoff.
Yeah.
I've been saying this.
Well, while we have absolutely gone off the rails, let's take a minute to listen from our friends at Adcraft.
So you want to create and sell custom merch for your team or business. That's exciting, but where do you begin? How much inventory should you order? How do you distribute orders? Adcraft has your answers. Streamline the way you offer custom merch by utilizing our risk-free web store service. We ship directly to each customer, and we have the fastest turnaround in the game. Raise funds for your team or get merch to your employees and patrons. Contact Adcraft today, and let's bring your merch to life.
That is exactly what they do. They are so very good at it. And, from the web stores to doing uniforms and everything in between. I mean, I got a good up close and personal look at John's uniforms at Franklin that Adcraft did. They're phenomenal. And so we're just very thankful to have them in with us and supporting us. NAI born and bred, just like Connor, they understand what's going on there. So contact them for all your needs there. Now, play Players of the Week was surprisingly difficult. We were talking about it in our Discord. There were 4 offensive players who scored 5 or more touchdowns.
Sure.
I
guess. Whatever, man. I love it.
It was fantastic. And I mean, the defense was just as good. I mean, there was a guy that was hitting us in our DMs like, hey, I had like 3.5 sacks and 4 tackles for loss among my 7 tackles. Is it a possibility that I could be player of the week? I'm like, oh. In any other week, you probably would. But this week, not so much. Offensively, got to give it to Braden Howell from Southwestern. 379 yards on 23 throws.
Only completed 19 of them.
That is 16.5 yards per attempt.
Mm-hmm.
That's college football 25 on freshman numbers.
Yep.
I really did want to give it to the kid from Taylor, who scored 7 touchdowns on like 138 yards, but I mean, because that's a trick in and of itself, scoring 7 times and not even making 150 yards. But yeah, that number and that yards per attempt were unbelievable. I could not, however, leave Taylor completely out in the cold. So we're going with Avon Jones, 17 tackles.
Ooh, my.
A sack, 2 forced fumbles, and 2 quarterback hurries. That, we tried to give him to him a couple weeks ago, but the sack numbers didn't quite turn out for him. My guy earned it this week. It was pretty apparent on the forced fumbles and the hurries. Taylor is having a super quiet good year.
Mm-hmm. They're creeping up there. They're undefeated still, I think.
No,
one loss.
So they have one loss.
To Marion.
They lost to Marion on a failed 2-point conversion in overtime. I'm like, I can't really fault you there.
Yeah.
So for what to watch for, it's going to be kind of thin this week. And, we'll go through and we'll give our picks here. Indiana Wesleyan Marion is going to be good, but rivalry game. But I think Indiana Wesleyan is going to just look to bury Marion.
Yeah, I think so. These are unfortunately 2 teams I've not been very high on compared to my counterparts, the one across the screen from me as well. But I have to go with Indiana Wesleyan. I think they are a more well-rounded football team. Marion, I think, concerns me more than Indiana Wesleyan does. Yeah. And that's why I got to go with Indiana Wesleyan there.
Yeah, I've seen what Indiana Wesleyan has done to other rushing offenses, and I think Marion's basically just going to be next up on the hit sheet. I do think Indiana Wesleyan's kind of inevitable this year. That is a team that is hitting their stride, and they are out for blood every week. Now, Tech at Western.
Oh my God.
The Frontier strikes again.
I got to pick a Frontier game.
You got to pick a Frontier game. Tech is playing at a super high level right now. Like, I thought Southern Oregon might have a shot at keeping it, but Tech came out and just absolutely laid it out there. Now, they've got to figure out how to deal with Palandri from Western. Are you going to put a guy on spy and not drop him into coverage and let Palandri and force Palandri to beat you through the air, which he's capable of doing? Or are you going to drop that guy back into coverage and invite Palandri to beat you on the ground, which he is absolutely capable of doing? I've been high on Tech. Give me Tech. Roll Diggs. I think even playing away, I think they've got this one, and I think they're going to make their case to be the top of the frontier.
The day of reckoning comes for every single frontier team, Corey. And I think that this game is Montana Tech's day of reckoning. I've also just been really high on Montana Western this entire season. They lost to a very good Southern Oregon team. They're fueled up. They're ready to go. They're ready to get another win on the board after the bye week. And Palandri is playing like one of the best players in the country right now. Give me Montana Western.
All right, we'll see if we're right. But on another note, I just want to note and just my impassioned plea. I do not mind conference-wide bye weeks. I do not mind them. Not at all. They're great for rescheduling games.
Mm-hmm.
But I would really love for the Heart and the KCAC to exchange information. And one of you do it week 6, and one of you do it week 7. Because right now, what we're down to of our 29 teams between the top 25 and receiving votes, you have 14 total games. And one of them's on a Friday night.
In Yankton, South Dakota.
Yeah, at Yankton, South Dakota. Dort at Mount Marty. I just, like I said, I don't mind the conference-wide bye week, but I would really love for these two conferences that do this to communicate with each other and not do it the same week.
That's too hard. I mean, everybody take the week off. That's what I say.
Honestly,
who's in?
It's a really good week to go out and feel grass. Nothing against Tech and Western, nothing against Indiana Wesleyan and Marion, but
dude, come on. I'll watch, guys. Don't worry. I appreciate football like Corey, so I'll make sure to tune in.
In our 12 o'clock game, our lone nooner is St. Thomas against Fort Lauderdale.
Heck yeah. Let's go.
Like, I don't know, man. This is... Are you seriously telling me which of the 2:30 games really strikes your fancy, Matt? Morningside versus Hastings, Bethel at Cumberland of Tennessee, or Lindsey Wilson at Cumberlands of Kentucky? Exactly.
The second one sounds pretty good, actually.
That is actually the one I'll probably watch.
Yeah. Look, man, you must not really be a sicko if you're not just stoked for this week, because I am prepared for some funny things to happen.
And that's exactly what's going to happen. That is precisely what's going to happen.
I'm so ready.
We're gonna get over here. Freaking Dakota State's going to upset Dickinson. Florida Memorial's going to beat Southeastern.
There you go. Yeah.
And Simpson's going to upset Ottawa of Arizona or some bull.
Welcome to the top 3. Dort, you're gone. Mount Marty's beating Friday. You know, like, let's just get wild.
That is always what happens on these weeks where I'm like, these games this week are just terrible. But yeah, that's exactly right. That being said, though, this is like the weekend for my wife's birthday, so it just might be a good week for me to to step out. But
there you go.
You know who never takes a week off, Matt?
I have a guess. Is it our patrons?
It's our patrons. You're exactly right. Our patrons never take a week off. Absolutely love it. Week in, week out, they're the best. Amazing. if you want to support what we do, this is the easiest way to do it. It's at least $1 per month, which is if girl math is to believe, that's basically free.
What did you just say?
If girl, hey, look, man, $1 per day over 31 days is 3 cents a day, and that rounds down to 0. So basically, it's free. I think that's how girl math works.
Sure. Yeah.
At least that's what my wife told me.
Okay. That's fair then.
Yeah. So basically free. So you should sign up. And it really does help. They do stack up over the patrons here. And our patrons are DSU Cone, Bob Boone, Roger Meyer, Jeremy Vobble, Fred Christensen, Ace Wellen, Brett, Marty Seabolt, Nick Ryan, Kyle Gregory, Tyler Pierce, Justin Hoffman, Steve Speakman, Brian Shake, Julianne Shager, Nate Soapbeer, Stephen Cutler, Julie Lout, Dale Norton, Ryan. Dale Norton, Nathan Moore, Ryan. Words are hard. Jason Crawford, Charles A. Flowers, Todd Nick, Sean Chamberlain, Zach Lance, Josue Trujillo, Casey Willison, Carol C. Suggs, Chris Henchman 21, Derek Lowers, Jason Garnon, USF Sucks, Chris Zwiener, and Ian Brooks. Sure, that still tickles you, doesn't it?
USF Sucks gets me every time, dude. It's so funny. Sorry.
I love it. You know what I noticed, like putting everything together, is super quietly in the poll.
Mm-hmm.
Saint X went from like 15 to getting absolutely 0 votes.
They got bounced entirely? Oh, no.
Like, not even into the receiving votes category. They got 0, zippo, none.
Indiana Wesleyan just beat them that bad.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that was, I looked at that and I went, how do I have like the same teams? Oh, there's literally no Saint X.
Wow.
But yeah. Keep the Florida teams in your prayers. I know that Weber has rescheduled their game with Thomas for Sunday. Unfortunately, it's at a time where I won't be able to call that one. Weber, Warner, Southeastern, probably not Keiser as much. Edward Waters, former NAI, might get a little bit of it. But a lot of those around the Tampa, Lakeland area are forecasted to take a Cat 3 on the nose. And one that, thank God, it's supposed to weaken, because right now they're saying that there's sustained winds of 185 miles an hour. My brain barely comprehends that.
Yeah.
Like, that's F1 speed in wind. So keep them in your prayers this week. It's right now the tropics are basically automatic machine gunning hurricanes at Florida. Why that is, I don't know. It's late. It's early fall. This is the way of things. This is the way of the world. But yeah, keep them in your prayers. And I hate that I'm going to miss Suncast. Coming up to Thomas to coach. We were going to get a picture, but we wish all of them well. We'll be praying for them. And I, for one, will be happy when hurricane season is over this year. It's been enough.
Yeah, it's been a rough one.
So, let's see. Is there anything else in the chat? Let's see. Who's doing that? Okay. Play Indiana Wesleyan, you get knocked out of the polls. Who's doing that to Ta? Okay, yeah. Yeah, that's a conversation from VS and Henchman. I honestly think, I knocked Northwestern completely out of my poll, just because I didn't think I could put Concordia in there, and I really try to keep that order going. But also, I didn't. it's really hard to find a spot for them because that 15 through 25 is so crowded right now.
Yeah.
We talked about 5 through 15 being in a good order. That 16 through 25 is any one of them could win in any given day, and I really think that this is actually probably I had actually started moving Northwestern down over the last couple of weeks. They hadn't made it out of my top 10 yet, but I had started moving them back just based on a little bit of comparisons between what they and Dort had been doing against common opponents. But yeah, right now Northwestern's got to figure out what they're doing on offense and re-earn that respect. And obviously, the way that you're going to be able to do that is to go whip Dort or whip Morningside. You do that, you're right back, and all is right with the world.
Yeah, for sure.
So that'll be it for this week. We appreciate you coming into the NAIF Ball Live show. And, well, as always, we will see y'all on the Twitter feed. I don't know what the crap was going on with my batteries today. That's some bull crap.
Yeah.